Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Bump and Run with Matt Bowen. I'm Sid Rosenberg for OpenSports.com and the National Football Post. Without any further ado, we should say, here he is, former NFL safety and featured writer for the National Football Post, my friend Matt Bowen, to break down the latest happenings after a Week 8 of the National Football League season. Matty, how are you, pal?
I'm doing good. Let's get going.
Let's do it. Let's go right to that Packer-Viking game, Matt. Favre's returned to Lambeau. He throws 4 touchdowns. Percy Harvin has a big game. The defense steps up big in the fourth quarter. The Vikings are 7-1. How about the Brett Favre story, Matt, right now in Minnesota?
I think it's a story you have to be, excited about if you're a football fan. The guy's playing great. He's been efficient with the ball. He's making plays down the field. And look at the guys around him that are setting him up. Look at Percy Harvin in the kick return game, the defense. Look how the defense got after Aaron Rodgers again. And you watch this game, you can see the difference. Right now, Minnesota's just that much of a better football team than Green Bay is.
3 weeks ago, I think everybody thought the Giants were the best team in football, including myself, Matt. Now they're 5-3. They've lost 3 in a row. In 2 of those games, they were really bludgeoned defensively by the Eagles and the Saints. Now they're out of first place. Matt, in your opinion, what's wrong with the Giants?
Well, I think it starts with the secondary. Losing Kenny Phillips early in the year has hurt them. We kind of glossed over that because they were winning so many games. They don't have a dominant playmaker in the secondary. And maybe we're throwing too many bouquets at Steve Smith because right now he's not separating from receivers down the field, and Eli's struggling to read coverages. You look at how the NFC East is playing out right now. I can't say they're as good as Dallas and Philly.
No, neither can I. And I also think the pass rush has been an issue. They are not getting to opposing quarterbacks, which really exposes the secondary that you're talking about, Matt Bowen. So you mentioned Philly and Dallas. They're each 5-2, a half a game ahead of the 5-3 Giants. If you had to pick one of those teams, Philly or Dallas, who's the best in the NFC East?
I think it's really close. I think you can go with either team, but I like Philly just because of their defense. I think they attack more. Philly's plus 12 in turnover ratio right now. McNabb's playing great, and they have more playmakers. I like what Dallas has done with Miles Austin. I think Tony Romo's playing some of his best football. But I still think with Philly's big play capability and their secondary making plays in the football, I think it's going to be Philly at the end.
Matt, Baltimore got back on the winning track this weekend. They beat undefeated Denver. They stuck to a game plan that resembles last year. Run the ball, play good defense, make plays on special teams. Watching the Ravens over Denver on Sunday reminded me of the 2008 Baltimore Ravens. How about that?
Yeah, that's what it was. Earlier in the season, Flacco was dropping back and throwing over 40 times a game. That's too much for the Ravens. They got back to what works. They ran the ball 35 times as a team. Ray Rice had over 20 carries, and Flacco was 20-25. They get a big play in the kick return game, and Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were great. That defense shut down, which is a very good Denver offense. Kyle Orton struggled. They couldn't get Brandon Marshall and Eddie Royal involved, and you saw the results. This is what they have to do to, compete with Pittsburgh and win that AFC North.
Let's go back and visit the Monday night game last night. The Saints hold on, beat the Falcons 35-27. Matt Ryan gets picked in a game where the Falcons had a chance to take the lead late in the second half. But again, the Saints find a way to win. Again, over 300 yards for Drew Brees. Saints remain undefeated. Now they've got a 3-game lead on the Falcons inside the NFC South. How about that football game on Monday night?
It was a great game. It was a big loss for Atlanta, like you just said. They win that game. They keep pace with them. Now they're 3 games back. Look what Greg Williams' defense did again. I think it was 3 picks they had. Breeze was great. The running game was good. They're just so well coached right now. And when they play at home, I don't see anyone beating them in that dome. So you start looking I know it's early, Sid, but you start looking down the road. They get home field advantage. I don't know if anyone can beat them.
I don't disagree, and yet it's easy to pick the Saints and the Colts as the 2 best teams in football because they're both undefeated right now. But I speak to lots of football people throughout the week, and they're not sure that a 1-loss team, a team like Minnesota, is not the best team in the NFL. How about for you? Is it the Saints and the Colts because they're undefeated, or do you think there's a 1-loss team out there, or maybe even a 2-loss team out there that's every bit as good as New Orleans and Indianapolis?
Well, you can look at Minnesota. Don't forget about the Patriots either, and don't forget about the Steelers. There's some very good teams out there who have lost a couple games, but we know how the NFL works. Who knows what's going to happen, how the seeding is going to play out when we get to playoff time, and who's going to be hot going into the playoffs. Look at Arizona last year, where they go 9-7, all of a sudden they get hot. Look at Philly last year. So I think, like you said, Indianapolis and the Saints are the good teams now you look at because of their record. But don't forget about those other teams. Don't forget about Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger.
I wholeheartedly agree. The Pats, by the way, 5-2, have the Dolphins this week, and the Steelers 5-2, off a bye week as well. As always, Matt, terrific job. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you again next week right here on the Bump and Run. You have a good week.
All right, thanks, Sid.
You got it, pal. Remember, you can also follow Matt on Twitter at MattBowen41 and catch all of his great writing, and it is great, every single day at nfpost.com. For my friend Matt Bowen, I'm Sid Rosenberg. And as always, folks, enjoy the football.